Hello everyone, welcome to the English YouTuber. And today we're going to discuss the important extracts from Julius Caesar Act 4 and Act 5. So I hope you've already watched the video that I had uploaded on all the important questions of Act 3. So let's begin. So the first extract is Antony telling, "This is a slight, unmeritable man, meet to be sent on errands. Is it fit, the threefold world divided, he should stand one of the three to share it?" So if you remember, Antony tells this to Octavius about Lepidus. So the first question is, what does Antony have to say about the person mentioned? So we already know the person mentioned is Lepidus. So Antony says that Lepidus is a slightly unmeritable man who is only meant to be sent on errands. And he says that out of the three world divide, is he fit to be the one ruler among them? So that is what Antony thinks about Lepidus, that he is an insignificant man who is only meant to be sent on various errands. The next question, in the beginning of the scene, when Antony pricks out the names of the people who shall die, what condition does Lepidus agree upon? So when Antony stated that Lepidus' brother must die, he agrees under the condition that Antony's sister's son, who is Publius, must also die. And under that condition, he'll agree for his brother to also die. So the next extract is really important, where Antony tells Octavius that I have seen more days than you. And though we lay these honors on this man to ease ourselves of diverse slanderous loads, he shall but bear them as the ass bears gold. So I hope you remember this extract. So we'll go towards the questions. So what does Antony tell Octavius? He tells him that they are giving the honors to Lepidus only to relieve themselves of some burdensome accusations. So Antony says that Lepidus will bear them like an ass bears gold. To groan and sweat under the work, either he will be led or he will be driven as they direct him. And he says, once we have brought the treasures, means once we have achieved whatever we want to achieve, then we will take off his load and dismiss him to graze in the common place. So Antony says that once our work is done, we have accomplished, then we will leave him to be forgotten. So here Antony wants to use Lepidus as a scapegoat, making him the public face for their unpopular decisions and thereby protecting themselves from public criticism. So this extract is really important and I hope it's clear now. Okay, so if you remember, then Antony compares Lepidus to a horse. So what does Antony say? When Octavius says, you may do your will, but he is a tried and a valiant soldier. So when Octavius says that Lepidus is an experienced and valiant soldier, Antony says, so is my horse Octavius. He says, I give my horse plenty of food to eat. Means I provide a good supply of food. I teach him how to fight, how to change direction. I teach the horse to run directly ahead. He says that his physical movements are controlled by my spirits. Means the horse's physical movements are controlled by Antony's spirits. And Antony says that Lepidus is similar to a horse. He says that Lepidus needs to be taught, trained, and ordered around. So what should Lepidus be? He should be taught, trained, and ordered around. He is a dull-spirited fellow who lives on leftovers and imitations of what people have done. So he calls him a dull-minded person. Also, finally, Antony adds that do not talk about him like he is a person, but he is just a property or a thing or a kind of possession. That's it. So I hope this part is really clear. We'll move to the next one. Brutus says, thou hast described a hot friend cooling. Ever note, Lucilius, when love begins to sicken and decay, it used an enforced ceremony. I hope you remember this part. We'll go to the explanation of this. So this extract, Brutus is talking about Cassius. So when Lucilius comes and says that Cassius spoke to him with courtesy and respect, but not with a friendly or open manner as how he used to be before. So that is when Brutus says, when love starts to fade, people put on a show of being devoted. So they're not really devoted, they only put on a show. He says, honest and genuine relationships do not need tricks. But fake and shallow people are like horses. They look good at first glance and they make a show of being really brave. But while facing a tough challenge, they give up easily and fail. So here Brutus is saying that Cassius is now a very fake and shallow person and the love has started to fade. So that is why Brutus says you have described a hot friend cooling, means a close friend who has now become distant. So the next extract is Cassius telling, come Antony and young Octavius, come, revenge yourselves alone on Cassius, for Cassius is aviary of the world, hated by the ones he loves, braved by his brother, checked like a bondman, all his faults observed, set in a notebook, learned and conned by rote, to cast into my teeth. So this is again an important part. So let's go through this extract. Okay, so before we go into this extract, let's see the accusations that Cassius puts on Brutus and Brutus puts on Cassius. So I've written it as bullet points so that it becomes easier for you to learn. So Cassius says that Brutus has condemned and reported Lucius Pella for taking bribes from the Sardians. However, Cassius had pleaded on his behalf. His means on the behalf of Lucius Pella. But however, Brutus disregarded it. So that was the first accusation Cassius put on Brutus. So what does Brutus counter argue? Brutus says, Cassius, you are yourself criticized for having a greedy hand. Greedy hand means itchy palm, for taking bribes, for selling and trading his position for gold to those who do not deserve it. Then Cassius says, a friend should put up with a friend's weakness, but Brutus, you exaggerate mine. So Brutus says, I asked Cassius for certain sums of gold that he denied because I wanted to pay the army. And what does Brutus say? I would rather coin my heart and drop my blood for drachmas than to take from the poor hands of the hard-working peasants through deceitful means. Then Cassius says, a friend's eye would never see such faults. So Brutus then says, your faults are as huge as Mount Olympus. After saying this is when Cassius says, come Antony and young Octavius, come, revenge yourselves alone on Cassius. So the question could come, why is Cassius tired of life? So I've written it as a bullet point. Cassius is tired of life because he's hated by the one he loves. So he says he's hated by Brutus. He's defied by his brother. Whose brother is? Brutus. He's treated like a slave, and all his falls are observed. So they observe his falls, they record it in a notebook, it is recited and memorized so that it can be thrown at his face. So this is why he's tired of life. Then what does he do? He offers a dagger and his bare chest. And he tells Brutus, if you are a true Roman, take it out. Take my heart. If you think that I denied you gold, I will give you my heart. Strike me just like how you striked Caesar. He says that I know when you hated him the most, you loved him more than you will ever love Cassius. He also says that the heart that I'm going to give is more valuable than Pluto's mine and richer than gold. Okay, is this part also clear? Can we proceed forward? Okay, so this is a part where Brutus says, there is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on to fortune. Omitted all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea, we are now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures. So, do you remember this part where Brutus is telling Cassius, let's march to Philippi? But Cassius is saying, let the enemy come to us. So what does Brutus say? He says that if we seize the right moment, then we will find success. But if we miss it, then the whole course of our life becomes stuck in difficulty and misery. So he says that we are in such a tide and we should seize the moment. We must take advantage of the opportunity or else we are going to lose our chance. So let's see what Cassius says. Cassius has an opinion that it is better that their enemies come to us. So comes to them. Why does he say that? Point number 1. By doing so, the enemy is going to waste their provisions, means their food. It's going to tire out the soldiers. They will be weakening their capacities. On the other hand, if we remain where we are, we will be energetic, well rested, and nimble. So this is Cassius's opinion. Let's see what Brutus has to say. Brutus says that the people between Philippi and where they are under forced affection. So if the enemy marches from there, then they are going to influence the people there, which will add their numbers, and the enemy will feel refreshed, renewed, and encouraged because now they are greater in number. He also says that our troops, we are at full capacity, our cause is ready, our enemy is increasing every day, and we are at our peak. So therefore, we should grab the opportunity. And he says these particular lines that we are at such a time, we should take advantage of the opportunity or else we are going to lose our chance and become stuck in difficulty and misery. The next important extract is Brutus saying, this is a sleepy tune, O murderous slumber, layest thou thy leaden mace upon my boy that plays thee music. Gentle knave, good night. So I hope you remember this part where Lucius was playing the lute and he falls asleep. And that is when he sees the ghost of Caesar. So what was Brutus's reaction when he saw the ghost of Caesar? First he says is, who comes here? I think because of the weakness of my eyes, it is creating this monstrous apparition. Then what does he say? Oh, it is coming towards me. Are you living? Are you some god, an angel, or a devil who is making my blood cold and my hair stands on its end? So what does the evil spirit reply, or the ghost reply. It says, I am your evil spirit, Brutus, and you shall see me at Philippi. And the ghost vanishes. So Brutus says, just as I was finding the courage to talk to you, evil spirit, you have vanished. Okay, now let's quickly move on to the next extract, where Cassius says, Messala, this is my birthday, as this very day was Cassius born. Give me thy hand, Messala, and be thou my witness that against my will, as Pompey was, I am compelled to set upon one battle all our liberties. Important part. Okay. So here what does Cassius say? He says that he is forced to bet all their freedom in one battle, just like how Pompey was. Now he says that I held Epicurus strong, but now he has changed his mind. So why has he changed his mind? So Cassius held the Greek philosopher Epicurus's philosophy very strongly, but now it has changed. But what was the Greek philosopher Epicurus's philosophy? Freedom from fear. So there should be fearlessness and a life without the belief in superstition. Now, Cassius says that he partly believes in things that predict the future. So what are the two things that he says that has made him superstitious now? When they were coming from Sardis, on our former flag, two mighty eagles fell and perched there, eating and being fed by the soldiers' hands. But this morning, the two mighty eagles flew away, and instead, ravens, crows, and kites flew over their heads, and they were looking down upon us as we were prey. So the shadow that is cast by these ravens, crows, and kites were forming like a deadly canopy under which the army lies ready to die. Okay, moving to the next one. The Cassius says, Go, Pindarus, get higher on that hill. My sight was ever thick. Regard Titinus, and tell me what thou knowest about the field. So what do you see there? Time is come round, and where I did begin, there shall I end. My life is run his compass. Sirrah, what news? So this part is again very, very important. So here Cassius says that his life has run its compass. Means he says that his life journey has come a full circle, where his life has reached a conclusion on the same day it began. He says that now he believes in fate and in the inevitable completion of his life. So what does Pindarus see? Pindarus says that Titinus is enclosed by horsemen that ride rapidly to him. So they are quickly approaching him, but he spurs onwards. Then he says that the horsemen are almost on him. Some dismount, and Titinus also gets down, and he says that he is taken, and they hear a shout of joy. After that, Cassius tells Pindarus not to give him the description anymore. And he says that he feels he's a coward for living long enough to see his best friend being taken before his eyes. And then he commits suicide. That is, he asks Pindarus to take his life. And after Pindarus stabs him, the last words told by Cassius was, Caesar, thou art revenged. So Caesar, you are revenged with the same sword that killed you. Then once Titinus and Messala, they return to the tent to give Cassius the good news. But what do they see? They see that Cassius is no more. Then what does Titanus say? O setting sun, as in thy red rays thou dost sink tonight, so in his red blood Cassius' day is set. The sun of Rome is set, our day is gone. Clouds, dews, and dangers come, our deeds are done. Mistrust of my success has done this deed again in court. This and the next extract, they are related and both are important. So what does Titanus say? Just as the sun's rays turned red while setting, Cassius has ended his life in the pool of blood. So he says that the sun of Rome has set. Our day is over. The clouds, dew, and dangers approach, and we are finished. So here Titanus uses a metaphor where he says the sun of Rome is set. So it compares Rome's glory has set or ended and implies that a time of darkness is going to come. So here the sun represents the Rome's strength and prosperity, which has now come to an end. So Mesala says, mistrust of good success hath done this deed. O hateful error, melancholy's child, why dost thou show to the apt thoughts of men the things that are not? So again, very important. Let's go to the explanation of this. So he says that misunderstanding born out of sadness and doubt or mistrust has led to Cassius's suicide. So it is because of hateful error. Then he personifies error to be melancholy's child. So when a person has melancholy, then the error is conceived in them. So as soon as error comes into being, you kill the person that creates you instead of bringing joy. So as soon as error comes into anyone's being, then you kill that person. So this is a very important part. Okay. But he says, right, mistrust of this good success has done this deed. So what was the mistrust? We have already discussed before what Pindarus tells Cassius. But what really happened? So Titanus met his allies. They placed a wreath of victory on his forehead and ordered to give it to Cassius. Then they shouted with joy because of the victory. And Brutus had ordered to give the wreath to Cassius. And this is what exactly happened, but Cassius misinterpreted their success. Also, what do they discuss? That when Brutus would hear the news of Cassius's death, this news would have to be thrust into his ears. And they say that Brutus would prefer sharp blades and poison arrows in his ears than the news that Cassius is dead. And once Brutus comes to know that Cassius is dead, what does Brutus say? O Julius Caesar, thou art mighty yet. Thy spirit walks abroad and turns our swords into our own proper entrails. So he says this because Cassius killed himself. Titanus killed himself after he came to know that Cassius is dead. It was the same sword that had killed Caesar. So he's saying that Julius Caesar, even after you are dead, you are still powerful because your ghost walks on the earth and turns our swords into our own stomachs. Coming to the last extract, where Antony says, this was the noblest Roman of them all. All the conspirators, save only he, did that they did in envy of great Caesar. he only in the general honest thought and common good to all made one of them. Again, this part where Antony praises Brutus is important. Let's go to the discussion. Okay, so we'll first go through what were Brutus's last words before he died, and then we will go through what Antony had to tell about Brutus. So before Brutus died, what did he say? He says that his heart rejoices. Why does his heart rejoice? Because in his life, he has found no man who was not true to him. So it is using two negatives, means in his life, he has found everyone who were true to him. That's why saying in his life, he has found no man who was not true to him. Then Brutus says that he will have more glory in this losing day than Antony and Octavius combined. Then he says, Brutus's tongue has finished his life story. The night is upon his eyes. His bones long for rest because he has worked really hard up to this point. Then Strato holds the sword and Brutus runs into it. Okay, now let's see what Antony tells about Brutus. So Antony says that Brutus was the noblest Roman of all. All the other conspirators acted out of jealousy of great Caesar. But only he, that is Brutus, acted from honesty for the general good of Rome. Then Antony finally says that Brutus's life was gentle and all the elements were mixed so well that nature might stand up and say that this was a man. Then Octavius says that let's treat him according to his virtue and we will respect and do all the rituals of burial. His body will lie in my tent tonight and with the honorable observance that suits a soldier, we will do the needful. And everybody exits and the scene ends. So these were the important extracts from Act 4 and 5. Also remember, please solve all the multiple choice questions that I have uploaded of the entire Julius Caesar. They are very important. I have included every question possible. So once you solve all those questions, you can confidently go ahead and give your board exam. I really want to tell you that I'm really proud of you and I'm praying for each one of you. Study well. You will definitely find success in your life. God bless.